The Ukrainian frontline once again turned into a nightmare for Russian infantry as waves of FPV kamikaze drones tore through enemy positions in broad daylight with merciless precision. What unfolded in the open plains was a chilling demonstration of modern asymmetric warfare, precision-guided destruction delivered at lightning speed, leaving Russian soldiers helpless and exposed under the wide, unforgiving sky. Russian soldiers, who had attempted to advance across the barren terrain in hopes of breaking through Ukrainian defenses, suddenly found themselves under constant surveillance. The high-pitched buzzing sound of incoming FPV drones echoed menacingly in the distance, spreading panic in their ranks. Every heartbeat grew heavier, every step forward felt like walking into certain death. The battlefield had transformed into a deadly trap from which there was no escape. With pinpoint accuracy, the first Ukrainian FPV drone swooped down at terrifying speed and dove directly onto a tightly cluster of Russian troops, exploding with a thunderous blast that shook the ground. The explosion sent shockwaves across the field, scattering dirt and shrapnel. Screams of agony erupted as the survivors scrambled for cover, their formation instantly shattered. But there was no refuge, no wall, no trench, no protection. The sky itself had become their executioner. Moments later, another drone locked onto a lone Russian soldier attempting to crawl through the mud in desperation. The machine pursued him like a predator stalking its prey, its camera feed streaming his every movement back to the Ukrainian operators. In a horrifying instant, the drone struck and detonated, vaporizing the soldier in a cloud of smoke and fire. The brutality was undeniable. Every move, no matter how small or desperate, was being hunted with surgical precision. Footage released by Ukrainian units captured the horrifying reality in raw, unfiltered clarity. Russian infantry being systematically annihilated, each explosion carving another crater in the earth and leaving behind mangled remains. The battlefield no longer resembled a place of combat, it had become a slaughterhouse where technology dictated survival. It was not just warfare anymore, it was execution in slow motion. Russian infantrymen, realizing the hopelessness of their position, fired their rifles and machine guns wildly into the air, desperately trying to shoot down the buzzing killers. But their efforts were useless. The drones were too agile, weaving through the gunfire, closing in with terrifying accuracy. The bullets whizzed past, but the machines kept coming unstoppable, fearless, and armed with death. Commanders on the Russian side shouted frantic orders, their voices breaking through the chaos, urging their men to regroup or retreat. But every attempt at organization was cut short by yet another incoming drone. Entire squads disintegrated before they could form a defensive line, their retreat turning into a rout. Columns of soldiers broke apart, stumbling in panic as fear spread faster than orders. The Ukrainian drone operators, hidden safely miles away in fortified bunkers, watched the live feeds with cold, clinical focus. Each drone camera provided a merciless view of the battlefield. Every Russian hiding spot was revealed, every desperate move exposed. With a simple flick of their joysticks, they unleash devastating strikes, turning fear into fire and hesitation into annihilation. One particularly chilling scene showed a drone chasing down two Russian soldiers, sprinting side by side. Their rifles clattering against their backs as they ran for their lives. The drone closed in relentlessly, buzzing like a hornet locked on its prey, before slamming into the ground between them. The blast ending their desperate escape in a cloud of smoke and screams. As the drone assault continued, morale among Russian ranks collapsed completely. Survivors dropped their weapons, some throwing themselves flat on the ground, others pretending to be corpses, hoping to avoid detection. But the drone showed no mercy. Even the still and motionless were engaged, each target destroyed until nothing stirred but the smoke drifting over the battlefield. Military analysts quickly pointed out that this engagement highlighted a decisive turning point in the nature of modern drone warfare. No longer limited to harassment or reconnaissance, FPV drones had evolved into frontline executioners capable of wiping out entire infantry advances with minimal risk to their operators. This new reality shifted the balance of power, making traditional infantry tactics obsolete on exposed terrain. The once advancing Russian infantry lay scattered across the open ground, their bodies broken, their equipment burning. Smoke rose into the sky, marking the site of yet another failed offensive. The message was crystal clear. In the open fields of Ukraine, Russian infantry stood no chance against the relentless, brutal onslaught of FPV drones. Ukraine had once again demonstrated that precision, innovation, and unmanned technology could overwhelm brute force. For Russian troops, the nightmare had only just begun. The drones would return tomorrow, ready to strike again, hunting one by one without mercy until every advance was broken and every field became a graveyard.